Morning, everyone, and welcome to our SWAC football head coaches media session for Monday, October 31st. We're approximately at 10 Central. We'll begin with our media session here momentarily. Thank you for everyone's patience. Once again, good morning, everyone, and for all of our media, just a few quick reminders. If you do have any questions for our coaches, please utilize our raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue for our coaches. We ask that you please limit your questions to one initial question, potentially a follow-up question. If we do have time availability in our coaches' time slots, we will circle back to get additional questions answered. We ask that you please leave your lines actively muted unless you are actively asking a question, and please do not ask your question until you're called upon. With that being said, happy to be joined by Alabama A&M head coach Connell Maynor. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Andrew. How you doing, man?
Doing great, Coach. And as always, sincerely appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule to join us Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement regarding your team's most recent outing versus Alabama State.
Well, first of all, I want to congratulate Eddie Robinson on his first classic win. That's huge for him and his program. He did a great job having his guys prepared. I said it all week that, it's the classic. And it's Alabama A&M versus Alabama State. Throw the records out. Those guys, still had something to play for. They need some help, and so do we now. Need a lot of help. But we knew they was well prepared. Coach doing a great job with those guys. We knew they had a great defense. It was going to be a tough game, and it was. They got the first score, and then we got a touchdown, and then we got a defensive touchdown, put us up 14-3 at half, and it kind of stayed that way till right at the end of the third quarter. We muffed the punt, and they recovered it, and was able to score a touchdown, and went in fourth quarter 14-10. So we're still in good shape, and they scored 14 points in the fourth quarter, down 3, and beat us 24-17. We drove it down, got the ball back in 2 minutes, 2 timeouts, drove it down, hit the ball on the 8-yard line with 8 seconds left, and we threw a pass and got caught and fell down, and of course the time ran out, and that was the ball game. So both teams laid it all out. Got to take hats off those guys. They never quit. They was down for most of the game, and just kept fighting, and wound up winning the football game. So it was a great game and a great win for them. Unfortunately for us, we lost the game and came up a little bit short. They made one more play than we did.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach Maynor. We'll now open it up for questions for Coach. Once again, if you have any questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature here on Zoom to get your question in the queue for Coach. Currently taking questions for Coach Maynor. First question goes to Mo Carter.
Hey, Coach. I know things were pretty tough on Saturday. What was your message to your team after you got into the locker room following that tough, close loss?
Well, we just, I was proud of them. They kept fighting, they kept playing, and we just didn't finish the deal. We had a lead, we had them when we wanted them, and we just didn't close. We didn't finish. We tried, we got close. We was one play away, and that's what I liked about it. We never gave up. We gave ourselves a chance, and we just came up a little bit short.
Now, following that, obviously, the week is a little different because you've got a Thursday night game, short week. How do you and your staff kind of flip the switch from that loss and then turn around and prep for a game that's only 3 days away now?
Yeah, we practiced this morning, man. We had a good practice. I thought the guys had the right attitude. The coaches had the right attitude. And the guys understood that we had to put that behind us. And we got to go play this week, Thursday night at Little NB on national TV at 7:30. So we got to be ready to go. We got to put that behind us. If we would have won the football game, we still got to put it behind us and go execute and win this week. And we lost the game. So win, lose, or draw, you got to be ready to play the next week. You got to put it behind you. You celebrate it, or you cry over it for Saturday night. Then you got to get ready to go put it behind you on Sunday. And that's what we had to do.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Next question goes to Ken Rashad.
Hey, Coach, Ken Rashad, HBCU Sports. Mo kind of stole my thunder with respect to your Thursday game against Valley. But I do want to ask, given what we've seen this past weekend with the national attention the conferences received, we had the Jackson State Southern game be featured on College Game Day. And then there was, of course, Florida A&M being featured with Good Morning America. And you've been in this position, too, with respect to the Magic City Classic getting the national attention in previous years. But what are your thoughts about the level of media attention that the conference has received this past weekend and the potential impact that could have for not only the conference, but for HBCUs in general going forward?
I think it's great. And I told my team that this morning. I told them, I said, guys, you thought we played in front of a big crowd last week. Well, we're going to be in front of all eyes this week. ESPNU is in all households. If you got cable, you got ESPNU. So all eyes will be on us this week. All HBCUs, all the college football will be on us Thursday night. And I talked about Jackson being on Good Morning America, the game day being at Jackson, FAMU big situation. We talked about all those situations, and The spotlights are on HBCUs now. They're on us, scouts, fans, everybody. So we talked about we got to be ready to play and got to perform at a high level because all eyes are going to be on us. We want to make A&M and the SWAC look good.
And a quick follow up with respect to your opponent against Valley, what can you tell us about them in terms of how to prep for them, and what are your concerns about that Valley squad?
Well, I'm always concerned every game. We got a saying, respect all and fear none. So Coach Dancy's doing a great job with those guys, having them prepared to play every week. They're going to play hard, man. I mean, they're going to play for 60 minutes on both sides of the ball. They've been playing hard all year. The win-loss is not what he's wanted, but that's not going to stop his team from playing hard, and they would like nothing more than to beat us on national TV at their place this week to get their season turned around. So we got to be ready for that. They're going to be ready to play offensively. They do a lot. They quarterbacks is do a threat. Defense, they're going to fly around. They got some good defensive linemen that we all know about. So they're going to be ready to play. He's going to have those guys ready to play, no doubt about it. And so we got to match that intensity, and we got to be ready to play. It's the SWAC, man, and it's a road game. It's hard to win games in the SWAC. It's even harder to win them on the road. We got to be ready to go, and we will be.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Zach McKinney.
How you doing, Coach? A lot was
Good.
made this offseason. A lot was made this offseason in terms of all the defensive transfers you brought in. But I want to ask about one player specifically, and that's Zarion Hayes. He's had probably one of the best seasons on the defensive side of the ball. I think he's second in the SWAC right now in tackles for loss, and has been a big impact player. Can you speak a little bit about his development in the A&M program and what makes him such a dynamic player on the defensive line?
Oh, yeah, he's a great player that we got from Appalachian State. One of the coaches just coached for me, Mark DeBassiani, is coaching at App now. And he told us about him. And, of course, we signed him. And he's just been a great player for us. He can do it all, man. Like you say, he's second in the conference, maybe first now after this week with TFL's, tackle for losses. And he's just been doing a tremendous job on and off the football field. He's a great leader. He leads our guys on and off the field, and he makes plays on the field, man. He's a baller. I'm glad he's on my team.
For sure. And then the last question is Quincy Casey, didn't come out with the W, but he was fairly efficient compared to some of the outings earlier this season. Did he do enough to keep that QB1 role, or are we still going to see both him and Xavier Langford at the quarterback spot moving forward?
He, for the most part, his stats, he played pretty good, but, I think he was 20 or 29. But what I was looking at was his 9 incompletions, and that's what kind of cost us and made some mistakes. One time we was in field goal range, and he took a sack, and they took us out of field goal range. In a game that the way we was playing, 3 points was huge. Mistakes like that, we had another one across the middle. They blitzed us one time and just throw the ball out in front of the guy. We scored, and he throws it behind him. And so those are the things as a head coach, quarterback, offensive guy that I look at. I look at the mistakes that he made, the misses that he made, not the 20 completions that he had. It's not about the stats. It's about winning the football game and making the plays that you need to make to win the football game. So we'll see. Both of those guys going to practice this week, and whoever we think gives us the best chance to win is going to start or play the most.
Appreciate you, Coach. Good luck this week.
Yes, sir.
Last question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach Maynor, good morning.
Good morning, Doc. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Apologize, I wasn't the first one to raise a hand there. I know how your expectations are. So don't run me this week.
Man, I don't know, man. They say to save for last, so I'm going to let you slide this time.
I like that. We're on the same page. With that being said, is there anything that you go through over your years and experience that you look at, that you can talk to your players to look differently in terms of a team coming in that's 0-8 versus the same thing that you would do going into a team that's 8-0 or 9-0 in terms of looking at a matchup?
Yeah, we're going to prepare the exact same because this week's game is the biggest game of the season. No matter the opponent, it's the biggest game of the season. We got to win. And like I said earlier, we respect all, fear none. So if you're 0-8, we're going to respect you. If you're 8-0, we're going to respect you. But we're not going to fear you. We're going to get ready to play for 60 minutes. And so we're going to prepare the exact same this week as we did last week for the Classic.
No doubt. Appreciate it. Look forward to it, Coach.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Coach Maynor, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
All right. Get ready to interview that big head boy from down the street.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Next up, we go to Alabama State. Coach Eddie Robinson, Jr. You see that we have Coach with us. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How's it going?
Doing great, Coach. As always, thank you so much for taking some time to join us. Coach Robinson, if you could please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing against Alabama A&M.
Yeah, we was able to come out of there with a victory in the Magic City Classic, which is for us, one of the biggest games of the year. And, just following on Coach Maynard, I mean, I think, for the SWAC, it was just a huge weekend from the press conference, everything, and just to build up the fans. So it was just great. I participated in as a player and as an announcer, so to be there as a coach. And the game went back and forth. We have a young quarterback, D. Davis. The guy tipped the pass, so we were down 14-3 early with a pick six on there from their defense. And so it took a lot to get the guys to get them back into it and mentally to make them not feel like it's going to be loss number 5. And so I was able to get them moving, feeling like we could just stay in the football game and hang around. Got a break on the muff punt, and then that kind of switched the momentum, and we were able to kind of get control of the game. But Coach Maynard, as always, does a great job. His guys fought back, and the game ended with them on the 8-yard line with a chance to tie the game. And I had my offense over there. We scored with 2 minutes left, so I had my offense getting ready for overtime. So it's just a great Classic win and a great Classic game. Most of these games come down to the last play, so everybody got their money's worth, and concert, band, everything. So just a great job. Coach Maynard had us chasing 2 and 3 tight ends all week in practice. We prepared for it. That's what he showed against Pine Bluff. And true to form, he didn't do it at all this game. So caught us on the back heel a little bit defensively. But that's what you expect out of a great coach. And this week we prepared for Bethune-Cookman. That's going to be a tough road game for us going down with Coach Simmons. We know they had a lot of issues with the Hurricanes, but now I think they're kind of settling in back and home. So we're expecting a tough game. It's their homecoming. So we're just going to go down there and just try to put up a good performance, and hopefully we can come out on top.
Appreciate those comments, Coach Robinson. First question goes to Dr. Cavill.
This is Kenyatta with Dr. Ville's Inside HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach Robinson.
Good morning. How's it going?
Doing well. Congratulations on the Magic City win. Wanted to ask you, no problem. Wanted to ask you in terms of, as you said, getting down early. You come into halftime. Are you a type of coach that feeds the room in terms of what you need to say at halftime, or how does it work in terms of your coaching ability in terms of halftime adjustments, speaking to your team, particularly in a game this magnitude, particularly being down at half?
Yeah. Well, the good thing is, HBCU, especially Black college, you get a super long halftime. Compared to those NFL halftimes, you get a splash of water and get back out. So that's been a huge advantage. So I usually talk with the coordinators first, with the whole coaching staff first, and I'll kind of give my thoughts on what I see, and then I try to talk to each side of the ball separately. So my message was to the defense: hey, you get 2 turnovers, and then we'll get back in this game and we can win. We can win by touchdown. So we got 1 turnover, which was on special teams, but I think that was big to shorten the field because the offense couldn't really get going in the first half. And so I think that was the biggest message to them. And then offense, self-inflicted, jumping off sides. They're in game time situation, I guess it looked a little bit better for them. So it still made us jump a couple times. So it was just a matter of settle down and get back in the game. It's a long football game, and so just keep playing.
Thank you, Coach. One follow-up, you talked about going on the road with Bethune-Cookman as they showed that they still are working at it, put up a lot of points against Prairie on the road this week. So what are your thoughts in terms of what do you want to see your team to get done in this matchup?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing for us is just the same week to week. We want to run the football and create turnovers on defense. I think the passing game takes care of itself, and you can establish a running game, which we never really got established against A&M. So I think that hurt us in that aspect. We became somewhat one-dimensional, and guys made some individual plays. But we definitely want to be able to run the football better. And defensively, just try to create turnovers. We've been playing at a high level defensively, and Coach Lewis, Bethune-Cookman is his alma mater, so I know he'll be excited. But just stay within the script. We don't have to be Superman. Just go down there and do your job. And I think that's the message to all of the kids.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend. Look forward to the match.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Zach McKinney.
How you doing, Coach? Congrats on the win this weekend.
Thank you.
So as a former all-SWAC linebacker, you have a linebacker on your roster that's putting up all SWAC numbers. Colton Adams leading the SWAC in tackles right now, has been all over the field, being considered for FCS National Player of the Week. Can you speak to what he means to the defense playing that Mike position and doing pretty much anything you guys need of him?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, he's a guy that's been banged up and hurt. So I, watched him in the games that he played the previous years, and now he's just playing at a high level. Not a big rah-rah guy. Doesn't talk a whole lot. Leads by example. Kid that's already graduated, 3.7 GPA, working on the MBA right now, and probably finish that in the summer. And I know at the Magic City Classic he got it with the seniors, but that was a senior academically. He still has 2 or 3 more years to play, so we're expecting him to be around him here for a couple more years. But he's playing at a high level and just has a motor, gets to the ball, and very coachable. Everything I tell him to work on, he works on it during the week, and it shows up that Saturday. So I think it may sound kind of funny or scary here, but I think his best football is still ahead of him. This is his first time really playing a full college football season, so very proud of him.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Mo Carter.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on the big victory over the weekend. My only question to you is, obviously, you've been in the Magic City Classic, won it as a player. You've been on a broadcasting team in which ASU has now won it alongside me when we did this a couple of years ago, and now as a coach. When you look at all three of those spectrums, does any one of them really stand out, or do you just be happy with just knowing that you've been able to get victories in different fashions?
Yeah, well, as a former player, to me, I can't remember the sacks or the interceptions I made, but I can remember the ones I missed. So, and I remember the game losing plays. So I think, I probably remember more of the heartbreaking losses than the victories. But I guess to answer your question, they all feel great. It's just a great game to play in. And I told the kids, yesterday just to soak it up and enjoy it, and realize how big a moment it is. We had all of our freshmen come up the day of on the bus, so it was great for those guys, even though they knew they weren't going to play, just to be in that atmosphere. So when we throw them in there next year, they're not surprised about it. But to me, it's no doubt that it's the best HBCU Classic out there, and probably in the top 10 in the country, in my opinion, if you just look at the whole atmosphere, what goes on that weekend. So it's just a game that it's a great game. You want to win it every year. You can't win it every year, and the losses really hurt when you have it. So I've been on both sides of it. I lost some. I've been broadcasting where we've lost some, and it ruins the whole weekend. You can't even go to the concert. So it's a big game, and everybody knows.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Last question goes to Ken Rashad.
I tell you, following Mo is becoming a tough act to follow, because I swear to you, I was about to ask you the same question about coaching, about coaching this as a head coach when you've played the game and you've worked it as an announcer. But I do want to take the opportunity to ask you, Coach, about the coverage that HBCUs have been getting, especially over this past weekend with FAMU and the coverage it's gotten with Good Morning America, the Jackson State and Southern game with the coverage it's gotten with HBCU Game Day. And of course, you've experienced this as well with the MEAC SWAC Challenge. Can you kind of speak to the impact that this type of coverage is having for the SWAC and the benefits that it could be, that these schools could benefit going forward, and how it could be beneficial?
Yeah, and I think it's awesome. From a recruiting standpoint, that's one of the first thing I told kids. Hey, we're going to be on ESPN for the Magic City Classic. We'll be in the MEAC SWAC Challenge, those type of things. So that's what kids want to hear when they're trying to transfer from Power 5 schools to come to FCS school. They want to make sure that they still be visible. I mean, we had, I know it was a scout for the Miami Dolphins at the Magic City Classic game. Hula Bowl scout was there. So the fortunate part of it, I mean, they're looking at one of our cornerbacks who has a good chance to get drafted, but he's going to look at the A&M players also. So it's just good for the whole conference. when you get those nationally televised games, and everybody will be watching the Thursday night game coming up. And so, I started off broadcasting ESPN during the Thursday night games. And the SWAC schools were one of the first schools to be on there. It was supposed to be an ESPNU thing for the HBCU games. And so it's evolved, so everybody wants to be on Thursday night now. So when we can be on Thursday night, we're the only game in town other than the NFL. But it's a huge deal, and it's something that's great for the universities and for the kids.
Appreciate that, Coach, and congratulations again.
Appreciate it.
Coach Robinson, as always, we appreciate your time, and we look forward to speak to you again next week.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we go to Alcorn State and head coach Fred McNair. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, as always, thank you so much for taking some time to join us. Coach McNair, if you could please start us out with an opening statement regarding your team's most recent outing versus Grambling State.
Very tough outing. Going out to Grambling, playing at Ed Robinson Stadium was very, very tough one. We started off on the receiving end of a kick, and they forced a fumble. They capitalized off the forced fumble, get the ball back on another kickoff, and we 3 and out, and they forced us to punt. They got a block punt, gave another shot in the field, and they capitalized off that. And so they're very tough out, and they went through a pick six for another touchdown. So turnovers have really killed us in the last couple of ball games that we played. We just got to make sure that we take care of the football. We take care of the football. We're in the ball game. Give credit to Coach Hugh and his staff for playing an outstanding game. Really executed the ball very well. We just made it tough on our defense on the short end of the field, giving the offense a short end to score on. So we fought those battles, and we never could recover from it. So we just got to make sure that we're doing our job inside our staff to get these guys rolling again. So it's a train on the run right now. So we just got to make sure we got to put some brakes on it. Got to make a run to Prairie View. Get ready to play a pretty good Prairie View football team. Coach Bubba McDowell's done a great job with that program since he became the head coach, and it's going to be a challenge for us. We got to go on the road. Short week for us. Got to be prepared to play.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach McNair. We're going to open up for questions. First question goes to Ernest Ricks.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man.
Awesome. Coach, what did you see from Grambling State this week that kind of contributed to their success?
They played fast. They gave lots of good looks in terms of their defense. Coach Thornton did a great job on the back end of putting pressure on us. We knew that going into the ball game. We knew he was going to come with pressure. Offensively, they did what they normally do. They get in 13 personnel and flex out and do the things. They do a lot of movement and try to run the ball. The quarterbacks did a great job coming in and making some throws, and of course using his legs as well. So dual threat always hurts a good football program. So we just got to make sure that we come in this week. Coach got another quarterback that's going to do the same thing in Connell up at Prairie View. So we got to make sure we tackle the ball.
And Coach, what was your message to your team at the end of the game? And what's your message this week going into next week?
The biggest thing is we just got to keep fighting. Just got to keep preparing ourselves. We got to do better. We got to make sure that we, as coaches, make sure we plan the guys we need to play to make plays. So the biggest thing is, other than that, we just got to keep fighting. It's not the end, but we still got 3 more games remaining. We just got to go out on a winning streak. So hopefully this week will be the start of it. This week coming up, it's not going to be an easy task for us. So we just got to prepare ourselves and make sure we're doing the right thing as coaches and getting these guys ready to play through the course of this week. Short week, travel on Thursday, play on Friday night.
Coach, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Next
question goes to Ken Rashad.
Coach, how you doing? Ken Rashad, HBCU Sports. You mentioned about Coach Cedric Thornton, who was obviously your defensive coordinator last year, and he's the new defensive coordinator for Grambling now. You're obviously very familiar with him. And as you were preparing for this game, were there any surprises? Did he pretty much do what you expected him to do, or were there some surprises, or was it just simply a case where or was it just simply a matter of execution, or what?
Well, we didn't execute as well as we should offensively. I credit that to what we did. But he did some things that gave us fits. I think he changed up a little bit in some of the stuff that he he normally, I think he reached down in the playbook a little bit deeper to come up with some stuff to get kind of confused on the back end. Quarterback first year here, confusing him, his eyes, and making the hold a little bit longer, getting to us on the blitz, things of that nature. So he did a really good job of disguising his defense for us. So we just got to get back to the playing surface and make sure that we prepare for a good Prairie team's gonna come in and pretty much do the same thing. Everybody know we're gonna try to run the football and they're gonna try to stop the run. So they're gonna box it in. We just got to do a good job outside, making plays, making explosive plays. We put ourselves in a lot of 3rd down and 1 situation. I was telling the coach that all the time. Every time we turn around, it's 3rd and 1. So we just got to make sure that we checking our boxes and making sure we're doing everything possible to help the young men be successful.
Coach, since you became head coach, you've had quite a few championship seasons, but for whatever reason, it appears to be a difficult task for you to win at Grambling. Talk about that and why that appears to be so difficult for you to win when you play them in Grambling.
I told the young men that probably the whole week, it's always going to be something on special team that's going to affect this program, and then it was evident. So something on special team happened. I know one time we went out and played Grambling. We had 7 turnovers, and Grambling had nothing to do with it. We just dropping the ball and from the snap, quarterback exchange, and those turnovers like that, muff punts and all that kind of stuff. So it's always been like a special team deal where we had our special team faults in terms of that. But it's tough to go down and play that hole down there. It's just something. It's something extra. When you have to go up down those steps and come down to that flat surface and play a football game. So I don't know if that's an intimidating factor to the program that goes in there and play. I was going to try to get in there on Friday to get in there, just walk down the hill, let the players just walk down the hills. But we didn't get there till late, so we didn't bother. I know they had practice as well, so we just kept rolling and then stopped till we got to the hotel. But it's always interesting when you go down the hole and play at Grambling. Eddie Robinson, he got the jinx down there now. I mean, it's tough.
I appreciate it, Coach. Thank you.
Currently taking questions for Coach McNair with Alcorn State. Any final questions for Coach? Coach McNair, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speak to you again next week.
Appreciate you guys, man.
Thank you. We're a few minutes ahead of scheduled availability for Bethune-Cookman head coach Terry Sims. We will pause momentarily. We'll be back. Thank you. Once again, for all of our participating media, if you do have questions for our coaches, please utilize the raise your hand feature. To get your question in the queue for Coach, we will attempt to get as many questions in during our 10-minute slots availability for each of our respective head coaches. Next, we are happy to be joined by Bethune-Cookman Head coach Terry Sims. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach Sims, as always, thank you so much for taking some time to join us. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement. Excuse me, Coach, if you could start us out with an opening statement recapping your team's recent outing versus Prairie A&M.
Yeah, thought, we went in with the, great game plan on, in all three phases. I thought, our coaches put together a good game plan, and we started out not like we wanted to on defense. They moved the ball fairly quick down the field, but that was after we scored. We went in and scored, and then they came down and scored, but they had a call back. So we had a little bit up and down to start the game. Then we got out and we held them for a couple of drives, but our offense went down and scored. And we had a decent lead. But, going into the end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter, if it could go wrong, it did go wrong. And, I have to take my hat off to Coach McDowell and his staff. They kept their guys in it. And they took advantage of mistakes that we made and the opportunities that were presented to them. So they did a great job staying in there. There are things that we have to correct here and make sure that we don't make the same mistakes again this week. But I thought it was a good football game. I don't think, either team played terrible, but they capitalized when they needed to. And at the end of the game, they ended up scoring one last time, and then they came back and they stopped us. And the game ended. So, again, good football game. My hat goes off to them. There are, definitely some things we have to clean up to hopefully end this season on a high note.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach Sims. First question goes to Dr. Cavill.
This is Kenyatta with Dr. Cavill inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Sorry, Coach Sims, I couldn't get down there and talk with you pregame. Just wish you well. In the matchup, when you start seeing a game like that where it just seems like whoever may have the ball last, or if you can get one or two key stops, it's the difference of the game. Your guys were able to put up yards, 244 yards rushing, evenly in terms of what you were doing, receiving as well. Good gains, but then Prairie was able to rush and put up 340 yards. So when you're in those type of games, do you just say, all right, we need to kind of make sure that we get this crucial stop here, or understand that we're going to have to put up these points and keep scoring?
Well, I think you have to think about both. You have to talk to your guys defensively and tell them we got to get a stop. Regardless how we do it, we have to get a stop. And, offensively, you want to keep going down the field, putting some points on the board to keep yourself in it. And it was just one of those games where guys were going back and forth, and we were moving the ball good on offense. We'd stop them on a series, but then we come back and have a defensive tackle or a linebacker out of the gap, and they get a 20, 25-yard gain on the ground. So just little things like that. And that's what I was talking about. They hung in there and they kept fighting. And when we would play out of our gap, they had guys that took advantage of it, and they have, a couple good backs that can run the football. And their quarterback is dynamic. He's a guy that can run the ball. He can hurt you with his legs. And he did that on us a few times when we were locked up in man coverage.
Follow-up question is, now you turn into Alabama State, and this will be a two-part question. One, you have another talented quarterback that is elusive as well, that can make plays, both similar to the quarterback you saw and what your quarterback was able to do last week. But this is in the mix of homecoming, and you have your normal distractions that you have with homecoming that you're used to, that you certainly can talk to about your kids about how do you do that. Some coaches allow them to participate to some degree, and some kind of ask them to focus more on the game and enjoy it afterwards. But with the fact, with everything Bethune-Cookman has gone through based on the early storm, is that going to be any change of that? And what is the nature of trying to create the balance in regards to understanding what's necessary to control the game, but also the things off of it?
Well, I'll say this, and we're not going to get away from our routine. We have been successful around here doing things a certain way, and we're going to continue to do that. We had again, nothing against anybody that we played. But last week, we had the suspensions from the fight. And, we had a bad case of strep throat that we had to leave 5 guys home. And then we had 2 kids that had to attend funerals, 2 of our starting defensive linemen. So we had some challenges. And this week, we'll continue to prepare like we always do. I tell my team all the time, for homecoming, we're part of the show. We're part of the activities. We're not participating. We're who the fans come to see, us in the band. So we're not going to participate in anything. Sometimes we send guys, some of the guys that don't dress to the pep rally or whatever if they want football players present. But, our business is on the field and our business is with Alabama State. We have to get ready to play a football game. And that's what we're starting to do. We started yesterday preparing for them. And, they have a talented football team. And, I know their defensive coordinator very well. He played here when I first got here. So know him very well, heck of a football coach, definitely proud of him. And I know he's going to come in and put his best foot forward. So we have to be prepared.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend. Look forward to it.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Ernest Ricks.
Hey, Coach. Ernest Ricks, MTMV Sports. Coach, your quarterback had a phenomenal day, right? I want to say 4 touchdowns in total, 1 rushing, 3 throwing. Your top running back had a great day on the ground, 3 touchdowns as well. Your top wide receiver had 2 touchdowns. Coach, after huge days like that, what do you tell those guys when they don't walk away with the win?
We got to keep fighting. I talk to my guys all the time and I tell them their coaches get paid, their athletes on scholarship. So they're going to make some plays. And the team usually in games like that makes the least mistakes and makes the most plays are going to come out on top. And, that's what Prairie View did. They hung in there and they kept fighting. And when we did make a mistake later on in the game, they capitalized on it. So our guys understand that. We're not down. We're going to continue to prepare. We're going to continue to fight. And we're going to go out and get ready for Alabama State team to come in here that we know is going to come in and put their best foot forward, and they're going to come in and give us a fight.
Coach, as you study Alabama State, as you look at their strengths and their weaknesses, what are those top strengths and what are some of the opportunities you see for your team?
Well, honestly, looking at their defense, not a lot of weaknesses. They do a good job with the personnel that they have, and that's what good coaches do. You take advantage of your personnel. You don't do anything that your personnel can't do. So I think they have, tailored their defense to the personnel they have, and those guys run around, they fly around, fly to the ball. Offensively, I think they manage the game. They help their quarterback manage the game, and he is doing a great job of that. When you watch him on the field, he's doing a good job of distributing the ball and running when he needs to. And I think they're solid on special teams. If it's anywhere that I'm always looking for an advantage, it is on special teams. So I'm looking now, and as soon as I get off this call, I'll get back at it and we'll, try and find a crack or a hole somewhere where we can try and get a leg up on these guys when they come in here on Saturday.
Coach, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Time for one more questions for Coach Sims. Coach Sims, as always, sir, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are a few minutes ahead of availability scheduled for Coach Simmons with Florida A&M. We will be back momentarily. Thank you for your patience.
Coach Simmons is walking in right now.
No problem. Thank you. Good morning, Coach.
Hey, good morning.
Coach, as always, thank you so much for taking some time to join us. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement regarding your team's most recent outing versus Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Well, first off, again, I want to commend Coach Treadwell for coming in a tough situation. Anytime you have to take over a team during the middle of a coaching change in the season, that's always tough, but the guys came in and fought and competed like I knew they would. But it was a great atmosphere. Homecoming was very festive. And I thought our guys responded to the adversity that they faced during the week with the distractions and came out and played a pretty solid game top to bottom. So excited about the win. Keeps our win streak going here at home, keeps our overall win streak going, and continues to give us momentum as we make this postseason push. So excited, but we know we have a tough task this week with a very, very good and very dangerous, very well-coached Southern football team coming to town this week.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach Simmons. First question goes to Jim Kleinpeter.
Hi, Coach. If you would talk a little bit about the development of your quarterback, Jeremy Musa, this season, how much he's improved.
Yeah, Jeremy's continuing to make strides every week. He's getting more command of the offense. It typically takes at least a year to get all the bells and whistles of what this offense entails, being that every play gives them the opportunity to make multiple decisions. So he's really settling in, making some really good decisions with the ball and really, growing into that role as the leader of this offense. And so again, we're really pleased with him, and I think he still has better football even ahead of him.
Okay, and if you would talk a little bit about Southern and what stands out to you about them offensively and defensively.
Well, offensively, again, it all starts with Bashawn McCray. He's very dynamic, can run the ball as well as throw it. Has huge targets out wide, Cassius Allen and 6'3", 6'4", 6'5" wide receivers. Very efficient in the run game. They do a really good job and play with tempo. And of course, Eric Dooley's one of the top offensive minds out there. So our defense has to be ready to face a high-powered offense. And then defensively, they're much like us. They're long, they're fast, they're athletic. They play extremely hard, and they play sound fundamental football. So they're going to force you to earn everything you get. And so I think two really good football teams, two evenly matched football teams. And these are the type of games that excite our fan bases. And that's why every year it's always one of the highest attended games, whether it's in Tallahassee or Baton Rouge.
Thank you, Coach.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
This is Kenyatta with Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Coach, want to talk about getting the run game going. A.J. Davis, the senior, 6 foot, 215 pounds out of Lakeland, Florida, was able to give you 108 yards of hard, tough rushings, 6 yards of carry on 18 attempts. Obviously, you were able to put up 201 total yards. So talk a little bit about getting that rushing game going.
I'll tell you what, we've been challenging the guys every week to get the ground game going because it really opens things up for us. And so, again, I commend the offensive line for accepting the challenge. They did a really good job of identifying different fronts that they saw, different linebacker locations, and giving the running backs an opportunity to make plays. And running backs ran with great pad level. They were very patient. And for the first time all season, we were able to manufacture some explosive plays in the run game. A.J. Davis, Terrell Jennings, as well as Jay McLeod all had runs over 20 yards. And, so, again, it's very good to see that. And then you saw what that did for the passing game. It opened it up for Jeremy to have right at 300 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. And so hopefully we can continue that. Obviously, Southern's a very stout defense and really tough to run the ball against. So, again, it'll definitely be a challenge. And, we'll see if our O-line accepts that challenge 2 weeks in a row.
I know you just talked about opportunity to close out the season, potentially a post-season push. I certainly know where that's coming from, but to do that, you have this next matchup, which is against Southern. If you would, I want to go back a little bit from a historical standpoint. Obviously, there were a lot of other things that went into it, but part of the culture and excitement when Southern came to Tallahassee pre-SWAC, and then obviously this past year, you went on the road with Southern FAMU being part of the SWAC. Can you talk a little bit about your anticipation of what this looks like from a different perspective when it was a non-conference matchup that was huge, historically big, and now you have Southern at home for the first time as a conference member in terms of SWAC. Can you talk what you see with that coming to be fruition in terms of matchup?
Yeah, I think it's very telling that when we made the decision to move to the SWAC, that there are only 2 games yearly that are cross-divisional, right? That's Alcorn Jackson, which obviously they have to play every year because they're in-state rivals, and that's FAMU Southern, because again, I think Commissioner McClellan and everyone involved knows and understands how big and significant this rivalry really is. 2 very, very similar schools, both in state capitals, both adjacent to Power 5 programs, both from great recruiting bases, both agriculture and mechanical schools. Southern doesn't use theirs, but it's Southern A&M University. So again, at the end of the day, it's the 2 schools that have loyal fan bases, that travel well, great bands. I mean, like they're almost mirror images of each other. So the fact that it's a yearly rivalry is great for this conference, and I'm glad that they made that decision. When we entered the conference, to make it a yearly game.
Thank you for that, Coach. Look forward to this matchup. As you said, it should be a great one. A lot on the line as well as you close out the season. Take care and good luck this weekend.
Thank you, Doc.
Next question goes to Ernest Ricks.
Hey, Coach, Ernest Ricks, MTNV Sports. Coach, talk to me about running onto the field last week and seeing the fireworks and seeing the atmosphere. What was that like for you?
It's homecoming. That's all I can say. They pull out all the stops for homecoming. So not sure we'll have fireworks this week, but hopefully the fireworks will be on the field, the way our team plays. But again, great atmosphere, great game day environment. And but it'll be another electric environment this weekend, because every time Southern comes to town, they travel well. So their fans will be fired up to be here in Tallahassee. Our fans are excited about coming back, to this game. So again, it will definitely be a game that will be really, really exciting for spectators.
Coach, Good Morning America was there for homecoming. You saw college game day at Jackson State. Talk to us about the feeling that you're getting from the exposure that's coming to HBCU sports.
It's phenomenal. It's long overdue, and but it's great to just see HBCUs being highlighted for the achievements over the last 150 plus years. And we have some phenomenal institutions that have done more for Black and brown people than anyone. And again, it's just great to be able to highlight that on the national stage. So, Good Morning America, College Football Game Day, ESPN, HBCU Go, all the opportunities that we get to showcase our brands, we want to take advantage of it. So hopefully this is just a start. And every week you turn the TV on, you'll see a major network or major news outlet highlighting, one of our great HBCUs.
Coach, thank you for your time. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Next question goes to IC Morrell.
Coach Simmons, how you doing?
How you doing, IC?
All good, sir. Hey, look, I want to talk about your defense, because it seems like your mission was to put a lot of pressure on quarterback Scarlett Prairie, and seemed to maybe throw him off base a little bit in the first few drives. Was that kind of the game plan for you?
Well, we want to put pressure on every quarterback we play. So we were able to do that. Isaiah Lane had an early sack and kind of went from there. So we're excited about that our defense is playing at a high level. And we'll need to do that as well this week, because, again, we're facing one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in the league.
Jeremy Musa did have almost 300 yards, but he had to overcome some turnovers. What did you try to do to help him or keep his composure to be able to continue to move the ball and play well, despite what he threw, 2 or 3 interceptions, and then he fumbled, or he was strip sacked one time?
Yeah, at quarterback, you got to have a short memory. And so, again, just put it behind him. We'll learn from it on the film the next day, go back out and play football. And that's what he's been able to do. And that's why he's been able to lead this offense this season.
Thanks very much.
We'll take one final question from Charles Bishop.
Coach Simmons, how you doing?
Well, we get College Game Day in Jackson, but Charles Bishop asking questions now. But I tell you the truth, boys. I ain't seen them all year. I ain't seen them all season.
Sorry about that, Coach. I did want to ask a little bit about the intensity of this rivalry with Florida A&M and Southern. So much to play for in regards to this game, but Southern's defense still a formidable defense despite the setback from this past week. But what is it that you've seen, especially from the Southern defense?
Yeah, I mean, it starts up front. You know, when you have, you know, Jason Dumas inside, you know, you got Jordan Lewis outside, you got, you know, Kyler Lang. I mean, they got pass rushers, they got run stuffers. They're big inside, they're athletic, and that's where it all starts, right? And then you go to the second level and third level. They just have athletic dudes, and they fly around, they challenge you, they get in your face, and they're gonna make, and they're opportunistic. You know, we're just watching the film now, and you know, 2 pick sixes, and so again, they're gonna force you to execute. They're gonna force you to be fundamentally sound, pick up pressures, and win one-on-one matchups, because they do have some guys that can disrupt the quarterback. And so again, their defensive blueprint is very similar to ours as far as the makeup of it. Now, schematically, we're a little bit different, but we're both 4-down teams. We both pride ourselves on having dominant defensive line play, and if whichever team can establish that, you know, and win that matchup with the defensive line versus the other team's offensive line, I think gives itself a huge advantage in this matchup.
Quick follow-up question. At this point in the season, is it difficult to not fall into tendencies on the offensive and defensive side of the ball?
Well, you know, you try to continue to build upon the things that work, you know, and so I think the key is not so much to not say worry about the tendencies, but try to find ways to maybe hide it. You know, don't line up in the same formation every time you run this play. Maybe motion to it or shift to it, or maybe play with the splits a little bit. And because you still want to run the things that you've been successful in. We're both going into game 9. And so, you know, they have things that they run extremely well. We have things that we run particularly well in all 3 phases. And so that's that part of that, you know, coaching matchup. How can we match the things that we do well to where we're not maybe giving it away? And then I'm sure they're trying to do the same thing.
Coach Simmons, sir, thank you so much for your time. We look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Next up, we go to Grambling State. Hugh Jackson. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How you doing?
Doing great, Coach. And as always, Coach, thank you so much for taking some time out of your schedule to join us. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement regarding your team's most recent outing versus Alcorn State.
We were happy to come away with a win. I think our players deserved it. Our coaches deserved it. They worked extremely hard. I thought our defense played extremely well. And I thought our offense, we made some plays and some crucial moments that we needed to, especially early, that got us a lead. And we was excited to be able to finish the game the way we did with a victory.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach Jackson. First question goes to Dr. Cavill.
This is Kenyatta with Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. You talk about your defense and the turnovers. How much momentum is it when you're wanting to get a team to play with even more confidence than they come into a game? How helpful to get those big turnovers to give yourself the ability to navigate the rest of the game?
Oh, no, it was great. You know, obviously the opening kickoff in order, our special teams gave us an opportunity on a short field. Obviously the offense was able to convert that into a touchdown. And then we blocked the punt and had a chance to, score off after that. So I think our football team, I just think as a team, offensively, defensively, and special team, we played 4 quarters of football, played extremely hard. And I watched I can see our team growing each and every week.
You talk about that growth. You have another game at home against Arkansas Pine Bluff. Talk about what are some of the things that you want to get done as you continue to push and grow your team this year.
We just want to continue to get better in all phases, defensively, offensively, and special teams. Obviously, we still have some areas that we got to really go back and reset. The penalty issue is still going to be an issue for us. We got to make sure that we convert third downs a little bit better on offense and, again, get off the field on defense. But I think as a group, as a football team, I just think we're starting to grow and get better as we're coming down the stretch here.
Thank you, Coach. Look forward to the matchup. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Ernest Riggs.
Hey, Coach, this is Ernest Ricks, MTMV Sports. Coach, Coach Thornton spent some time at Alcorn. I have a question. Did you feel like you had a secret weapon going into this game?
No, he did spend some time there. And we felt like there's some things that maybe he knew, but we know once the game starts, it's a game, right? There's not much he can do. He understood the personnel. Obviously, he helped recruit that team. But at the same time, he was more worried about what he had to do on defense. We were more worried about what we had to do on offense as a offensive staff and our special team staff. But I thought what we did a really good job of is just understanding their mindset and exactly who their head coach was and how they like to play football. That's where I think he helped us at the most.
Coach, talk to us about the continued growth and development of your quarterback.
I think he's growing. Sometimes you don't see it in the numbers, but the things that he's doing, not just with the offensive team, I just think with the football team, he understands that he's got to be the leader of it all. He's rallying the defense to go make plays for him. He's rallying the special teams units. He's rallying the offense. And we're asking a lot of him. He's a young player, and he's not going to do everything perfectly, but we're so excited to have him because we can see him growing week in and week out.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate your time.
Sure.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach Jackson, I hope you and all the gentlemen, the G-men, are well. Can you talk a little bit about field position and ball security in the Alcorn State University game?
Oh, absolutely. I thought field position was huge for us, as I mentioned earlier, especially getting those turnovers early where we had 2 short fields where we're able to convert touchdowns. And I think we've done a really good job on offense of not turning the ball over. That's one of the big keys to have an opportunity to win. We're not turning it over and we're getting turnovers. Our defense is getting their hands on the ball and our special teams units are now too. So the more we can do that, the better chances we have.
Coach, you get into November football and you know what that looks like. Talk a little bit about November football and coaching your team up and looking for W's on Saturdays.
Absolutely. I think we all know when it gets into November, it gets a little colder, and so the run game really comes to the forefront. Got to be able to run the football physically, got to be able to dominate a team that way. And obviously you still got to be able to throw it because I still think you got to be able to score enough points to win these games in this conference. But you got to be able to run the football. You got to be able to stop the run. And obviously it's going to be a time of possession battle where you got to do a really good job offensively of keeping the ball, defensively of taking it away, and special teams of being really, really consistent and efficient in what you do.
Thank you, sir. Have a great week and good luck versus Pine Bluff.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Perry Daniels.
Good morning, Coach. Hey, if you could, can you share with us the product that you put on the field Saturday? Was that a result of you and your staff coaching these kids up, or did we finally see this version of G-Man play to their potential?
I think it's a combination of everything. I think this has been a work in progress since we started. I think we're starting to see the fruit of all the hard work of our players, of our coaching staff. Some things take time, and this is taking a little bit more time than all of us like, but I think the guys are starting to work at it. I think they really have bought into how we do things, how we go about it. And sometimes that takes a little bit, for us as coaches, one, to earn their trust, and then for them as players to earn our trust. I think it goes both ways, but I think there's a real happy medium now. So I think you're starting to see us play some really good football.
What should we expect against Arkansas Pine Bluff this coming week?
That we're going to continue to improve. That's what we're looking to do week in and week out as we go down the stretch here. Every week, we just want to get 1% better at doing something better. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're focusing on. And that's what I think our players will do.
Good luck, Coach.
Thank you.
Last question goes to Ken Rashad.
Coach Ken Rashad, HBCU Sports. If you would, talk about your linebacker play, specifically with the performance of Lewis Matthews and Joshua Reed, who both had stellar performances during the course of the game. Talk about what they've meant to the defense and how they have made an impact on the defense during the course of the season.
Absolutely. Both of them are veteran players. Both of them play linebacker, and it's good to have 2 guys you're talking about that were very close in tackles that way, one with 13 or 15, whichever it was, and the other one with 12. Those guys were all over the field the other day, and those guys are really the quarterbacks of the defense. You know, they understand where everybody should be. They understand how they can play off the front. And so they were able to make some real special plays. But Lewis has been doing it really consistent for us all year. And obviously Joshua has really come on the last 2 or 3 weeks and playing some really good football for us.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach Jackson, as always, we appreciate your time and we look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Next up, we go to Arkansas Pine Bluff. Coach Don Treadwell. I do see that we have Coach with us. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, man.
Coach, as always, thank you so much for taking some time to join us. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement regarding your team's most recent outing versus Florida A&M.
Sure. You know, this past Saturday, we played a very talented and well-coached football team in FAMU. Internally, you know, as a staff, we are so proud of the way our young men kept competing throughout the entire game. You know, we really look at and believe that the fact that these young men have handled the coaching change as best they can in a mature manner. And I will also say that that's also due to our coaches who have really displayed, in my opinion, a tremendous professionalism in the midst of uncertainty. So therefore, at this point, you know, we'll turn our attention to the next opponent, Grambling State University. Questions from you guys?
Appreciate those comments, Coach. First question comes from IC Morrell.
Coach Treadwell, how you doing?
Doing good. And yourself?
Just well, thanks very much. You know, Skylar Perry made another start. He's coming off injury, but he had to face a really well blitzing Florida A&M defense. How did he handle that pressure from Florida A&M, you think?
Well, I'll tell you, regarding Skylar, the positive thing was we didn't find out till midweek last week that he would be available. You know, we really were certainly we're always going to follow what the trainers tell us, and they kind of gave him the green light, you know, towards that mid part of the week to see how he felt. He had been doing some things on his own, obviously, because, you know, as a quarterback, you have to do more than hand the ball off. But each day he kept feeling better and better. So by Friday, I felt good enough to give him the nod as the starting QB, just number one, because he's been in the battles before. This was a big game because, as I said, this was an outstanding team, in my opinion, that we played Saturday. And also, Skylar is one of our captains, and he has been tremendous in helping continue to lead this team as we go forward. So with that being said, I think he will only get better as we keep going. And as you alluded to, you know, they were a team that could blitz you at times. It doesn't necessarily start with him. It starts up front with the protection, as you guys know. So it's all connected. But I think as the game progressed, he really settled in to being who he is, having been out, you know, 2, almost 3 weeks. And when you watch our tape, which we've done obviously from the first half to the second half, you see some most notable improvements and same plays being called, but him executing at a higher level.
Sure. I want to give you a chance to dote on your defense. Nathan Seward, dude, had 2 interceptions, and then Henderson had the pick 6 for you. We've heard Seward's name, but we hadn't heard Henderson's name a whole lot. Can you tell me a little bit about him?
You know, I'm going to say it this way. It's more of a collective effort, and I give you credit that the coaches on defense have maintained what they believe in to put our kids in the best position. And honestly, we preach about that as a group. We haven't really focused on individuals. And I think you can imagine my role in particular. Yes, I'm aware, and there's been a little bit more added to my plate, but the defense handles their business, and my focus is where it should be on offense, and then as it needs to be as it goes throughout the game as the head coach. So from a defensive perspective in the big picture, I think you guys certainly appreciate the fact that anytime your defense is creating turnovers, it gives the offense more opportunities to score. And our defense did that and more. As you probably mentioned, they not only played well at times, they also intercepted a pass and scored. And therefore, they created some highlight moments, you know, during this game.
Understood, Coach. Thanks very much.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach Treadwell, I hope you and the Golden Lions are well. Can you talk about your perspective as the head coach, having coached on the sidelines at FAMU, and what that was like as you move forward?
Oh, those are things you're kind of, at least I guess in a positive way, I've done before. So that phase wasn't maybe as challenging as it maybe might have been if you hadn't been doing two things. I've not only been an interim head coach, but I've been a head coach before. So I've had that dual task before of, calling an offense as well as trying to manage the game and being in tune to the defense and making sure that we're communicating, that I'm listening to their needs as well. And of course, you always got to throw special teams into that mix. So yeah, there's a lot more that I had to stir in the pot. You don't get to be, as I joked before, I think that mad scientist as an offensive focal point where you can just stay locked in only on offense. But I felt like, we want to do the best we can to give our kids the best chance they can. So, that part of it really wasn't an issue. They had a tremendous crowd there. I thought that was great. I believe they certainly know what homecoming is all about. And I'm sure they had a lot of fun because trying to get out of there, even, an hour after the game or so was like, it was a challenge. Let's just put it that way. And we had a police escort. So they certainly know how to follow their team there. And it was an exciting atmosphere, I thought, for our kids to play in.
Coach, shifting gears, now the focus, you look at Grambling State University. Talk about the G-Men and what you see with that ball club as you move forward to play a football game.
That's still a work in progress for us. Our travel plans for the weekend, we didn't even get back here until much later, the latter part of the day. So we're still in the process of looking at them. Needless to say, we're up against another team that, as you guys know, has tremendous history, winning. I mean, they understand all of that from a historical standpoint. I still remember the day I met Eddie Robinson as a young coach, probably 35 some years ago, and I was in awe then. So that takes you back from then to now. So we know it'll be a tremendous, exciting game, and we have tremendous respect for who they are as a program and certainly for what Coach Jackson is doing with them now.
Thank you, sir. Good luck, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
This is Kenyatta with Dr. Ville's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab.
Sure.
Good morning, Coach Treadwell.
Good morning.
Want to talk a little bit, as you said, on the offensive side of the ball. You got some production from Damian Dawkins, the sophomore, 5'10", 170-pound young man from District Heights, Maryland. Had 5 receiving yards on 8 receptions, just about 12 yards of carry. Talk about his ability to play on the offensive side of the ball with the receptions. What makes him special?
Well, at the end of the day, when you're putting in a passing theme of what you want to do, it takes everyone to try to buy in to do what they're asked to do. Therefore, so the quarterback at the end of the day has the final decision on what to do. So having said all that, ideally, it just worked out at times based on what particular coverage they were in when the ball was thrown to Dawkins, that he made himself available. And I think one of the unique things about the young man outside of, what you saw on game day is he works hard all the time in practice. He's, he does have a little bit of what we call top end speed as a receiver, but he works at it daily. And so we're very proud of him because he's really still young. I mean, he's, basically a sophomore, played a little bit as a freshman a year ago. So we think the best is still yet to come for him as we move forward.
You go road again, another one of the big brands, as you talked about, very special, Grambling. Talk about that matchup and what you look forward to seek to get done in that game for your team.
You kind of broke up on me. I just heard a little bit about Grambling, then I didn't.
No problem. No problem. I'll ask it again. Sorry that. Talk about you on the road again, second game, another one of the bigger brands in the conference in terms of Grambling. What would you like to see your team get done in that matchup, defensively? What's some things you can share with us that you're looking for to have your team?
Well, I think like most coaches would tell you, once you're kind of somewhat looking at what you want to do week to week, you want to just get better at it week to week. So our hope is that, where we're at with our program and what we're trying to do, and given it's a fine balance, as you know, when you're working through a system that really was handed down to you, and yet now you're trying to yet at the same time give the kids maybe some advantages of just maybe tweaking something here or there, but it's a delicate balance. And therefore, we just want to hopefully give our kids a chance to execute what we're asking them to do, where they're not really thinking too much. And that's kind of where we're at. You know, you don't have the advantage of starting from scratch as most teams and staffs do back in January to put in a system and away you go. So that being said, you know, we're just going to continue to focus on ourselves. How can we improve? The attitude has been tremendous with the kids in terms of their work ethic, and we want to continue to move forward with them, and at the same time, make sure they're enjoying this process as we finish out.
Thank you, Coach, for the insight. Look forward to the matchup. Good luck.
Thank you.
Coach Treadwell, as always, sir, we appreciate your time and look forward to speaking to you again next week.
All right, take care, man. Have a great week.
Thank you. Next up, we go to Mississippi Valley State. Head coach Vincent Dancy. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How you doing?
Doing great, Coach. Thank you so much for asking. And as always, Coach Dancy, thank you so much for taking some time out of your schedule to join us. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement, just kind of recapping your previous week.
We had a bye this week, and it was a great time to get the guys off, but also work on ourselves. That's what we wanted to do this week. The week we had off, make sure that we iron out a few wrinkles that we had internally, but also being able to catch up on our academics and get some guys healthy throughout the course of this week.
Appreciate those comments, Coach. Now, open it up for questions. First question goes to Kendrick Marshall.
How you doing, Coach? Just was wondering, had you heard from the SWAC office about the post-game scuffle you guys had with Bethune-Cookman a few weeks ago?
Yes, we've heard from the SWAC office, and we've had some guys that won't be available this week due to the circumstance. So yes, we have heard from the SWAC office.
Is it just a one-game deal, or will there be multiple games involved?
Right now, just the one-game deal. Yes, sir. Okay.
And my last question about that is, what's kind of the message? What was the message to your players and maybe to Bethune-Cookman about what transpired?
I mean, at the end of the day, we can't overreact. Of course, it was a tough loss for us. But emotionally, we gotta learn how to control our emotions. And at the end of the day, I'm solely responsible for that because I'm the leader of this team. I'm the leader of this of the team. So just had a real good conversation with the guys about overreacting. You can't overreact to anything, especially when emotions are involved. So just had a good conversation with these young men. Of course, neither not here to say neither whether it was Bethune's fault or our fault. At the end of the day, we both have to be responsible for our ball clubs, and as men, we take full accountability of the actions of those young men. So we got to do a better job in controlling our young men, especially when it comes to overreacting. And I thought that happened. After the game. So, there are consequences to all actions, and our guys got to, face those consequences.
Right. And how many are going to be missing this week?
Sir?
I said, how many guys are going to be out this week?
It's going to be several guys out, especially dealing with the injuries, the list of injuries that we have. But you talking about just the suspension?
Yes.
It's gonna be 4 guys.
Okay. All right, thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
All right.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and everybody in the Delta are well. Can you talk a little bit about this week's game? Obviously, a Thursday night game, Alabama A&M, Coach Maynor, the Bulldogs. Mr. Glass has moved on. It's a new look. Just talk a little bit about what you're seeing from that ball club.
Well-coached football team. I know Coach Maynor, man, and he's going to have his team ready to play. Defensively, they're a physical team, big up front, long in the secondary. They do multiple things on defense. Offensively, they're got those big running backs. They're going to try to pound you downhill, but also spread you out. They're multiple and balanced on offense, and they execute well. Special teams as well. They do a lot of things with special teams, convince you to, try to get you to jump off sides. Just a well-coached football team, what I expect from Coach Maynor and his group. He's been doing it for a while now. He's a champion, so we expect them to come in and, especially coming off a tough loss in the Magic City Classic. So we expect them to come in and try to rebound off the loss that they had. But I just feel like we had like I said, we had a great week last week of just working on who we are and still trying to iron out a few wrinkles offensively. Of course, we, had a coordinator change in the middle of the season. So just still trying to, iron out all those kinks, but a good Alabama A&M team. Of course, things haven't been going their way lately this year, but still a well-coached football team.
Coach, this Thursday is an opportunity for the Mississippi Valley State alumni and the Delta Devils Nation, everybody to come back home, Highway 82, Itabena, Rice-Totten. Just talk a little bit about, inviting everybody back and the big game, and it's the last game of the year and that kind of thing.
Oh man, I think it's going to be exciting for us, get a chance to showcase our talent on ESPN, live at, on a Thursday night game when there's not a lot of people playing. So it's a great opportunity for us to, nationally showcase our talent, but also invite, all our fans back to, see that we still have a lot left in the tank. Of course, the season hadn't gone, how we expect it to go, but I think these young men are still fighting. I still have faith in these young men in the locker room. They still believe. So, like I said, just a great opportunity for this university.
Coach, in closing, you'll flip the script and you'll get into November football. Just talk a little bit about that and doing that the Valley way.
I'm just trying to close the season out. Don't want to get too far ahead. Still got, still want to focus right now on Alabama A&M, but we want to still close the season out strong, still compete, still show what we made of, and that's the Valley way, and that's just being tough and still playing hard-nosed football in the end. That's what we want to do. We want to close it out and send these singers out the right way. They've been great to us the past 4 years, so we want to, close it out well for those guys.
Thank you, sir. Have a blessed week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
This is Kenyatta with Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach Dancy.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Previous week before your bye week, you're able to get your offense going, putting up 28 points from the offensive perspective. Obviously, defense set up some of that, passing and rushing. Talk about that momentum and what you did during the bye week to keep that moving forward, about having your offense be more productive as you move down the rest of the season.
We still gave up too many sacks, too many turnovers offensively. I thought if we could have, at least limited those turnovers, we would have had a better chance at, winning that game. I thought we, threw 3 interceptions. We turned the ball over, right in our red zone. We had a chance to capitalize and go up, 2 possessions. So we wanted to, work on the small things, eliminate the turnovers, eliminate penalties, make a few changes up front, to be better in our passing game and our passing attack, but also, continue to work on the things that we did do well, and that's push the ball down the field vertically. Also, still being able to run the ball when we need to, and defensively, just stopping the run, being able to stop the run and make people throw the ball. That's what we want to do. That's what we pride ourselves on. But special teams just keep rolling. We made some big plays on special teams, and we want to keep that, that same mindset heading into this week.
Yeah, you talking about being on television and defensively stop the run. Part of that is Eagling last year at A&M. A lot of it is about what they were able to do passing the ball. All-world quarterback, obviously. Now it looks like it's a little bit more about being able to run the ball, and it goes through Eagling. Talk about the need to be able to stop him, maybe to blunt some of the momentum A&M is wanting to do offensively in this Thursday night matchup against Alabama A&M.
like I say, man, they're a well coached team, and they're a balanced football team. So they keep you on your toes. You know you got to stop the run, but they still can't execute at a high level in the passing game. But we, again, we just want to make sure that we're able to control them in the run game, being able to stop those two big backs that they have, two big backs that can tote the ball, and we got to be able to run to the ball and gain tackle, the things that we do well, being able to play one gap, not being out of gap, and make sure that we make the ball bounce out to the perimeter where we want it to go, and make sure that we fit it up right. Those are the things that we got to be able to do well. But just being able to tackle, being able to make those tackles in open field, being able to gain tackle on those big backs, and force them into passing the ball, something that we want our opponents to do.
Thank you, Coach Dancy. Look forward to the July matchup.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good luck.
Good.
No problem.
Dancy, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we go to Prairie View A&M and head coach Bubba McDowell. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, everybody.
Coach McDowell, as always, we appreciate you taking some time to join us. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement regarding your team's most recent outing versus Bethune-Cookman.
First of all, I'd like to say it was a great weekend for homecoming, and hadn't had a homecoming for quite a bit. Again, just to see the fans and alumni out there supporting the team. And a good win. Wasn't a great win, but it was a good win. Hats off to Coach Simmons and his staff, Mike and Chad, who offensive guys that came in and had these guys ready to play, considering the things that they've been going through, situations that they've been dealing with. Coach Sims had these guys ready to go. And as I told my guys, you can't take anybody for granted. These guys come in, they put on pass just like we put on pass. They're going to play the game just like we want to play the game. They're going to play to win as well as we play to win. And he did a heck of a job of keeping those guys focused. Again, for pretty much the whole game, they kept a well balanced offensively. Mike and Chad, they was doing some things that again we couldn't adjust to throughout the whole half, first and second half. Finally, we got to the point where we were making some turnovers, and honestly, that's the thing that helped us, win this game, to win this game. And Mark Frederick did the same thing offensively with our guys against their defense. Again, my hat goes off to both teams, offensive coordinators and co-coordinators. Those guys did a heck of a job of keeping the defenses off balance pretty much throughout the whole game. And basically, these kind of games that I hate to be a part of. When you're just scoring back and forth, and usually I think Kenyatta said earlier, the team that ends up with the ball usually in the end ones that win. But again, our guys came out second half, talked about it, what they was going to do, how they was going to do it, and they lived up to it. Again, just coming out and just sticking together through adversity, and we got out with a win.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. We'll now open up for questions for Coach McDowell. First question goes to Dr. Cavill.
This is with Dr. Mills inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Coach, I hear the defensive side of you coming out with your concerns. I'm not going to go there for you. I'm going to stick on the defensive side of the ball. Since last week, you put 358. This week, 340. Two guys over 100 yards. Jaden Stewart continues to pound, 21 carries, 140 yards, over 6 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns. And Trayvon Conley is really being effective, being able to mix up the pass and the run, putting down 130 yards on 24 carries, just over 5 yards with 4 touchdowns. So talk about what you're able to get done on the offensive side of the ball, particularly in that matchup where you did get the key interception and sent a lot of people home happy for homecoming at the end of the day.
Yeah, and that was the goal, again, to win homecoming. No matter how you get it done, just as long as you come out with a win. And again, and hats off to, Jaden. I mean, he's running, he's back healthy, and that's the thing he can do when he's healthy. He's everybody, because he's a big back. He don't have good speed, but he has good speed, good power, good vision. Again, I can't say enough about Trezon. He's starting to take control, starting to hit that stride. And again, this is what you want going down the stretch, in the second half of the season, that these guys starting to click together offensively. Again, we're going to get it right defensively, but yeah, those guys came out, did what it's supposed to do. He made some crucial checks, should I say, that helped us, maintain the drive. And I think truly, as he continues to go as a quarterback, which, most teams want that QB to go, and that's who we rally around. We can continue to do some good things. Again, we just got to get it right on the other side.
No doubt. Let me go to the second part of the question. Moving forward this week, obviously, you have in Texas the Friday Night Lights. Now you get to do that from a college perspective. Previous to that, during the segregation days, you had your Thursday nights. And so now the SWAC gets to take advantage of the Friday Night Lights on ESPNU. You have Alcorn State coming in. Hadn't had much success overall as a program with Alcorn over the last couple of years. But this is where you want to go in terms of represent the Western Division, crucial matchup. What are your thoughts and what do you need to get done from your perspective against the Braves coming in this Friday night?
Well, they're the Braves for a reason. They're champions for a reason. We know Coach McNair is going to have them guys ready to go. I mean, again, they're champions because, one, they got good players. They've had good players in the past. They got players now that can make things happen. They're champions because, again, they got the coaching staff that makes things happen. And again, we don't go out and take care of our business here on Friday night, offensively, defensively, special team wise. We'll be going home with a loss, and I don't expect that to happen. Again, I know he's gonna have these guys coming in ready to play as well as they should be ready to play again. And we got a chance to do some good things, Kenyatta Doc. But again, we got to take care of our part, man. Again, we got to get better defensively. And I know we will, and continue to do what we do on offense, make plays. We continue to make plays all offensively, defensively, special team, which is doing really well under Coach Rock, Coach Fosselman. I think we should be okay again. But again, we got to play 4 quarters of football, and then the Braves are going to come in here and they're going to make us play football, and we got to come out with a victory, to control, what we can control.
Absolutely, Coach. Looking forward to it. Good luck this week. Thank you.
Thanks, Doc.
Question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and everybody at Prairie View are well. Talk a little bit about Mr. Conley, very aggressive, obviously the 4 touchdowns, able to mix it up a little bit. But what are you seeing in his development?
Again, he just being him, like I told him, after the Southern game, I said, look, guy, you got to be you. I mean, you're out there, it seems like you're thinking too much, or you're not being the Conley, of old, read it, react, and go. I mean, if it's not there, do what you do, man. And, he's been doing that the last several weeks, and I think, again, if he continues to do that, that is the type of offense that he does, the type of player that he is. That's what he do. I mean, again, don't sit back there and think about what needs to be done, how you can make a play. Just go make a play. That's who you are. And that's what he's been doing. And as long as he continues to do that as a QB and make the right reads, I mean, he's hard to stop.
Coach, the turnaround 6 days later, Friday night kickoff. Talk a little bit about that as you'll see the Alcorn Braves.
Yeah, coming in, short week, got to get guys ready to go. We're going to hit it again tonight, start getting preparation for Friday night. And again, just making sure that these guys come off this win, celebrate the win. But again, now we still got to go back and, try to get ready to go. Not try, but we will get ready to go for Alcorn coming in. We know they're a good football team. We know they well coached. Any given Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, a team can win if you're not doing what you're supposed to do. Offensively, defensively, and special team wise. So again, we just got to make sure that our coaching staff get these guys ready to go, get them prepared, to play a good team coming in here on Friday.
Coach McDowell, November football. Talk a little bit about how special that is. And again, it's all about getting those W's during November, and you'll be where you want to be.
Absolutely. And again, we as coaches got to try to continue to instill that into our young men. Again, it's a crucial time now. put the ball in your hand, not put it in someone else's hands, if we continue to do what we're supposed to do and get better at what we're doing, technique wise, scheme wise, putting guys in position to make plays. And I think McNair said it earlier, we got to, as a coaching staff, we got to put guys in. Again, that's going to help us, and whether it's a young guy or a mid-year guy or old, we got to make sure that our athletes are on the field, in order for us to on the field, should I say, in order for us to get this victory against Alcorn coming in this Friday, because they're gonna be ready to go. I promise you that.
Last question goes to Charles Bishop.
Coach McDowell, how you doing, sir?
Hey, Charles, what's up, buddy?
Hi, I wanted to ask a little bit about schematically. How much pressure does it put on a defense to have to play 11 on 11, especially when you look at Trezon coming in as the sixth leading rusher in the conference?
Yeah, it puts a lot of pressure. I mean, again, the pressure is, whether or not these guys can go out and perform and continue to do what they're taught to do, and to adjust to situations where it favor them. And so for us to get out, to get these guys lined up and executing, their job, that's the biggest task, because again, offensively, guys on the other side, they see what the weaknesses are, and we as a defensive staff, we got to see those as well. And we got to make those adjustments. And the adjustment again is just us as coaches, making sure that these guys are prepared in all phases of the game, running and passing, third down, first down, and that these guys are doing their jobs. And we can do that with these young men. Again, we should be okay.
Sure thing. Appreciate that, Coach.
Thank you, sir.
Coach McDowell, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Next up, we go to Southern University. Head coach Eric Dooley. I do see that we have Coach with us. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Doing great, Coach, and thank you so much for taking some time to join us. Coach Dooley, if you could please start us out with an opening statement regarding your team's most recent outing versus Jackson State.
Absolutely. Yeah. Actually, a great day to have a football game. That's what you call SWAC football right there. Everything was there. The fans was there on both sides. Teams was ready to play. Unfortunately, I didn't come out on the end that I wanted to come out up on, but that's on us. We got to correct now. We just got to be able to scratch where it itch at. I thought defensively we played well enough to do some things, and the offense didn't get a chance to put the ball in the end zone. You can't win if you don't score. So that's on me, and I take that personally because I'm an offensive guy. So we got to get these guys prepared and be ready to go. They were prepared. We just didn't cash in. So now we just got to look forward to playing a great coach. When you talk about Willie Simmons, I know his offensive mind. I know his mindset, and I just know how his team's going to be prepared. So got a huge challenge ahead of us again.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Dr. Cavill.
This is Kenyatta with Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. You talked about your offense and you wanted to be able to see it be more productive, but talk about your defense and how they kept you within the game, although you were trying to get your offense to be more productive throughout the game.
Yeah, each week those guys is coming on stronger. They're gelling together. They're playing great football together. They're playing unit football, and that's what we expect for those guys, because those guys are fast and physical, and they love to fly around. So Coach Miller's doing a tremendous job with those guys. We just got to make sure in all three phases that we're doing a great job. When you play a good football team, you got to make sure you're executing at a high level in all three phases.
No doubt. And you talked about the pageantry, the rival, in terms of this past weekend with this game, but you turn your head and now you got to look forward. Guess what? You got another big rival on the road again in FAMU in Tallahassee. Talk about what you look forward to your team needing to get done to come out on the better side against FAMU this weekend.
I tell you what, that playing in this conference, there's no time to sleep, no question about it. Week in and week out, you're going to have a challenge. But going down to Tallahassee, facing a Willie Simmons football team that's going to be well coached. Right now, we got to get the offense back going. We got to get back the chemistry, get back getting into the end zone. Then we got to be prepared for which I know that he's going to have that offense going. He's another play caller as a head coach, and I know he understands the things that he looked for to accomplish. So our defense going to have their work cut out. But at the end of the day, they got some great special team guys as well. So, I mean, in all three phases should be another great atmosphere out there. We just got to make sure we prepare and be ready to go for a huge challenge.
Thank you, Coach. Look forward to the matchup this weekend. Good luck.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Jim Kleinpeter.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Can you assess your offensive line's play against Jackson State, please?
Well, I'll say that they held up fairly well on some of the things that we were trying to do, but I still didn't think we accomplished what we are capable of doing. And they understand that because we had opportunity to go over that early this morning. Some of the things that we've been able to accomplish. We've been a well-balanced football team. And when you don't run the football well, it kind of hurts everything. Yeah, I know I love throwing the football, but you still got to be able to create both. And I think when you are throwing the football, you got to connect. The key thing is not just to throw the football and say that I threw the football 100 times. You got to connect on those things and make some positive yards on it. So I think it's nothing, I can't get down on those guys. They've been doing great all year long. I mean, we had a bump in the road right here. Now, how do you respond coming to another challenge? And I look for them to accept the challenge.
Yeah. How much did Jackson State's pass rush affect Bashan's performance?
I didn't think it affected the performance. Of course, you want to, pressure the guy. We understood what they were doing and how they was bringing. It was so much of a bliss and just pressure. We understood that. I just think it's all in. It's so easy to point to the quarterback, but it's all 11 that has to make sure that thing clicked the right way. So it's some things that we made some corrections on that we got to get better at, and we got to. A lot of times, I like to say, when you get opportunity, you got to win that one-on-one battle, regardless of where it is. That don't just mean at the wide receiver position. That can mean within the interior line as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach Dooley, I hope you and everybody in Baton Rouge and Southern are well. Can you talk a little bit about offense, defense, and special teams with the Jags?
Well, right now, in all three phases, we were doing well up until this past game right here. I thought defense stood out. They played an exceptional game. You can't keep them on the field as long because now it looked like, when you look at the point spread, it's like, well, the defense didn't play well. They did. The defense stopped the very first drive. We were in what I call the green zone, so we had opportunity to get scored. You got to be able to make those field goals when you got a chance to get scored. Those things didn't happen, but it's not nothing that I can say that we out of rhythm with. It's just something we got to come back and understand who we are and what we're capable of doing. And those guys will be ready to go because they displayed that this morning.
Coach Dooley, now we flip the script. We get into November football. Just talk a little bit about what that looks like. And again, every week it's a grind, and you'll go into FAMU.
Well, the thing that I've came to know, what I knew already, being a guy that's been here around for a while. Everybody say September, October, November. To me, it's football all the way down. You got to be ready to go every month because there's no easy game in this conference. They got a lot of great coaches, a lot of great football players. So to me, I need to be where I want to be at. I need to win September, October, November, December, and keep going around the clock.
Thank you, sir. Have a great week.
You too.
Next question goes to G. Thomas.
Hey, good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
I'm Gerald Thomas from the Tallahassee Democrat. Of course, this weekend you'll be coming to Tallahassee. This will be your first game against FAMU as Southern's head coach. Back in 2019, after the last time Southern came to Brant Memorial Stadium, it was packed out crowd. FAMU edged them 27-21. Just tell me about, what are you expecting, when you come to Brant Memorial Stadium, just the madness that comes with it, and what are you telling your team, throughout the week?
Well, I know you're from Tallahassee, so I ain't gonna give you no little tips to give Willie Simmons. Me and Willie Simmons go way back. We've been going against each other for quite a long time, so he know everything that I'm going to do. But no, it's going to be a great atmosphere. Atmosphere that that's why you come to this conference to play football. You know what type of team is going to be there. You know they're going to show up and be ready to go. The fans going to be there. But the one good thing about it, we know the Jaguar Nation is going to be there as well. So I look for an electrifying atmosphere right there and a well a good football game.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Last question goes to Perry Daniels.
Hey, Coach. Let's talk about Saturday. And you often talk about you want a quarterback that has the ability to win a game. Would you say that you faced that type of quarterback this past Saturday? And if you could talk about that quarterback's play.
Well, I put it like this here. I thought Sanders did a tremendous job in what he was able to do. He showed that, the question mark may have been that he's a pocket passer. A pocket passer, there's nothing wrong with having a pocket passer. He showed that if I have to pull it down and run, I can run it and get what I need to get. But, each coach have their own philosophy. I think it's kind of misunderstood when I say I want a quarterback to win the game. What I'm saying is I don't need him to manage the game, because that's why Southern University paid me. I'm going to manage the game. I want him to go out there and execute and do the things that need to be done so we can win the game and make sure that the guys around him better. And when you talk about Sanders, that's what he did. He made his team around him better. He executed at a high level, and the end results, they got the points.
Coach Dooley, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Next up, we go to Texas Southern and head coach Clarence McKinney. You see that we have Coach there with us. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach McKinney, as always, thanks for taking some time to join us. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement regarding your team's most recent outing versus Lincoln.
Give me 1 second. Let me change this lighting. Yeah, great win for the program. It's always good to win on homecoming. I thought our team came out with a little lack of focus and didn't start fast, but we picked it up as the game went on. Defense played extremely well, kept Lincoln University out of the end zone. And offensively, we kind of found the rhythm later in the game and scored some points and played well enough to win the game.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Kyle Mosley.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Good. How's it going, Kyle?
Good. Good win for you guys. Jackson State is going to be a formidable opponent for you, but the big nasties up front, your defense has been playing lights out all year long, especially in big games. Talk about how these guys can challenge Jackson State's offense.
I mean, we're gonna, as a staff, put a game plan together, and our guys are really good at trying to execute the game plan that we put together. And we're gonna show up and D-line wise, we put the effort, and we expect to see that same effort this coming weekend.
Also, follow up, Andrew Body, talk about how he could be effective against Jackson State's defense.
It's a tough defense. When we watch the film, there are no flaws. They play great at all three levels of defense. They can play man, they can play zone, they get after the quarterback. Andrew's gonna have his hands full. It's up to us as coaches to make sure that he knows the game plan. He has the skill set to play, with a team of this caliber. So we just got to do a good job of giving him the right plan so he can go out and execute it.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Richard Dean.
Hey, Coach. How you doing today?
Good. How's it going, Richard?
Doing fine. Coach, your program has made tremendous strides this year. Talk about the opportunity that presents itself on Saturday.
It's a huge opportunity. We're going to try and do something that no one's been able to do this season, and that's beat Jackson State. So it's a huge opportunity. It will be great for our program, but I think win or lose, the program is going in the right direction.
Okay. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
This is Kenyatta Cavill with Dr. Cavill at HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach McKinney.
Good morning, Dr. Cavill.
talked about your team as all eyes on the state of Texas, in the city of Houston, Texas, with the Texas Southern Tigers this weekend. Andrew Body, some people said he might have had his coming out party, at least in the first half last year, Jackson State, in terms of what he was able to do. He seems to be performing at a high level. Talk a little bit about, in terms of what he was able to get done against University, California. I know you said they kind of started slow, but they were able to put some points in that game. Talk about Andrew Body as he continues to grow as a young quarterback and move forward for your football team.
Yeah, Andrew's grown each week. You know, he's gotten a little bit better in different phases of playing the position of quarterback. He's a great leader. You know, our team believes in him. They trust him. They believe when, you know, he has the ball, he's going to make things happen for us. So it's just been a pleasure to coach, a pleasure to have in the program. We think he's one of the best around, and we're happy to have him.
You make a great point. You talking about the opportunity to do something that nobody would do this year thus far against Jackson State as you turn the page against the showcase. But a lot of people look at what they do offensively, but particularly what's been unique about this team is defensively, extremely strong. But your defense is also moving forward. Talk about the defensive matchup between these two teams of what they've been able to get done this year.
Yeah, we played a lot better defense this season than what we've played in the past, but I don't think we've played at the level that Jackson State's defense playing at. When you look at what they've done, they're holding teams to less than 10 points a game, and when you can hold teams to, you know, just a little over a touchdown game, you give yourselves a chance to win every game. And so we're not at that level yet. We hope to get there, but we're playing a lot better defense, giving our offense more opportunities by creating turnovers and getting off the field, winning on third down. So it's going to be a good matchup.
Thank you, Coach. Look forward to this weekend and the match.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Yes, sir.
Next question goes to Charles Bishop.
Coach McKinney, how are you doing, sir?
Good. How's it going, Charles?
I want to talk a little bit about the groundswell of excitement that's starting to come around this Texas Southern football program. You've had some program-defining wins this past season over Southern and Alcorn, but just this matchup going against Jackson State, I understand ticket sales are very brisk, but the excitement that's building around this Texas Southern football program.
Yeah, well, we've been building it brick by brick since day one. I think, you know, if you go back to a season ago in 2019, you can see where we lost some close games, and this season we had a tendency in the last few weeks to win those close games, and so I think we're on the right track. I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done to become at the level of the elite teams in our league, but our guys are up for the challenge.
Quick follow-up, your secondary as ball hawks, I believe they lead the conference in interceptions. Talk a little bit about their preparation going against George Sanders.
Yeah, he's you know, a tough opponent. You know, he's what some may consider the best quarterback in our league, if not best in the country at our level. It's going to be a challenge, and it's not just Shador. He has some weapons. You know, they're tremendously talented offensively, defensively, and our secondary, you know, is going to be challenged. Those guys accept that challenge. They're competitors, you know, and we're just looking forward to going out there on Saturday and competing.
Sure thing. Appreciate that, Coach.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Ernest Ricks.
Hey, question. Hey, Coach. Ernest Ricks, MTMV Sports. Coach, I want to know about the game plan going into playing guys like Aubrey Miller, Travis Hunter. How are you treating them this week, Coach?
Yeah, I can't give you my game plan, but we're gonna show up and you know, we'll put the game plan together, and you know, those guys are extremely talented. So there's not one particular game plan you can do to beat those guys. We're just gonna try and find some success and maybe lean on that as much as we can.
I love it. Coach, talk to us about the development of your quarterback. We're seeing so much growth from him this season. Talk to us about how he's growing.
Yeah, he's growing each week. He studies the game. He studies our scheme. He studies what people are trying to do to him. He's a pro. You know, he understands the game. He loves the game, and his teammates trust him. His coaches trust him, and you know, when things aren't going well, he doesn't get down on himself. He's always the guy who's picking everyone up, and so we're just happy to have him, and we love to continue to watch his growth in our scheme.
Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir.
We've got time for one quick question. That'll go to James Hill.
Hey, Coach, talk a little bit about November football as you move into November. Obviously, Jackson's standing there, but just talk about what you guys are doing as you move into November football.
For us, I'm kind of like, I heard Coach Dooley's answer, and I really enjoyed that, because for us, November will be no different, you know, than October and September, because every game we've played has been very important to the growth of our program, the success of our program. We're just happy to be in a meaningful game, you know, the next week. And so the weather changes, that might be the difference, because, you know, in the city of Houston, it's hot in September. It can get a little chilly in November, but that'll be about the biggest difference for us as far as playing in November.
Coach McKinney, as always, we appreciate you, sir, and we look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we go to Jackson State. Deion.
Hey, guys, one moment. I'm just grabbing Coach right now.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry.
There you go.
There you go. I need to see the people. How you doing?
Good morning, Coach.
How you doing, guys? Sorry, I'm a little tardy. I'm in the middle of a shoot, but you guys come first. You have priority, and I'm apologize. I hope everyone's doing fine. Let me get to business. We had first of all, I don't really condone Halloween, but happy to whatever you celebrate today, but it's all good. Okay, we had a wonderful game on Saturday, a day that Jacksonians would never forget, a day that the SWAC would never forget, a day that our people came together as one. When I got up there on that stage and saw the cheerleaders from Southern and so many people from Southern there and our people from JSU, it was phenomenal. It wasn't just a Black thing. It was a white, Black, Hispanic thing, Asian thing. It was just a thing. And I'm so elated. First of all, God gave us grace. Gave us grace because it was supposed to be 90% chance of rain from 3 a.m. all the way through, and God graced us all the way into the second half. So I'm appreciative and I'm thankful because I wanted everyone to see how we could pull together and how the city of Jackson could be a wonderful host city for College Game Day. And we were all of that. I thank you all for your coverage, for your kind words, for the hospitality, for just the love that you showed us. I really appreciate it. Jackson would never forget it. I would never forget it. I was almost in tears when I rode through there on my Aflac cart, seeing this moment and getting up there on stage. Unbelievable. Undarn believable. Went on to the game. Defensively, we played well. I trust our defense so much early in the game. I went for it on fourth down and an opportune place, but Dennis Thurman and I discussed that kind of stuff. We go over all possibilities throughout the week, and I let them know I would try something like that just to get our offense jump started. But the defense played a great game, shutout as normal. Shutout meaning not just to shut them out by blanking them, but they played lights out football. Statistically, I think we reached some wonderful points. I think we're still the number one defense. Can you give them those statistics? Because I want them to hear that, because some people take that for granted.
Yes, number one total defense, number one passing defense, number one scoring defense, first, third down, fewest third down conversions allowed, first and fewest first downs allowed.
Amen. The church said. So offensively got off to a slow start. Then we crunked that thing up. We dropped, I think, several passes, which is not indicative of who we are offensively, but we came on with it. Shador had some wonderful runs, which is unlike what he normally does. He's a passer, but he can run, but we don't like him to run because there ain't but one Shador Sanders. But he did his thing. We got great productivity from our backfield. Our line was ready and going, and they was doing their thing. Special teams played well. I feel they played well. We didn't have to rely on them as much, but the kickoffs, the punts, everybody, special teams did a wonderful job. Great team, well-coached team. They stayed in character, which I love, and we didn't have any nonsense on the field or off the field, which I adore, because we had to put our best foot forward, especially when we're on a national stage. Let's open it up, guys.
Appreciate those comments, Coach Sanders. First question goes to Charles Bishop.
Coach, how you doing this morning?
Great, sir.
Hey, you covered so much in your opening statement, but I wanted to ask this question in regards, especially the offensive line play. From a perception standpoint, the past 2 weeks, most prognosticators have thought that you were going against a more physical defensive line. But talk a little bit about the offensive line play over the past 2 weeks. Another game where they rushed for over 150 yards.
Yeah, I get bothered by that because people always talk about the physicality of the other team. I never hear them talk about the physicality of our team, especially defensively as well as offensively. We have two ways to beat you. You can sit back there and drop 7 if you want to and take Shador away, but then you're going to have to deal with the run with your front four. And we are very, very physical. Our guys get in arguments when we call a timeout because they want the ball ran their way. That's the type of energy and the physicality that our offensive line possess. As I alluded to earlier, we have several backs that can get the job done, and they got the job done. I'm sure we hit I'm just upset, but I think Mr. Wilkerson had only a couple yards away from getting 100, and I wish I knew that because we'd make sure he got that, because that's another feather in his cap. But those guys work their butts off at practice, and they want to be rewarded in the game, not by the accolades, by coach running our way. That's the verbiage we get when it's in a timeout, and I'm proud of that.
Sure thing. Quick follow-up. I wanted to ask about the special teams. Several kickoffs that were touchbacks. You've talked about Alejandro Mata and Sam Johnson as well as a punter. Talk a little bit about the special teams play thus far.
Coach Ricard is doing a wonderful job. We not criticized, but we own him the most because he's funny and he's hilarious and he's straight energy and profanity, but it's hilarious. He tries his best not to use profanity to the kids because I really don't condone it, but he is so fired up and so into it that he's chosen a group of guys that have sacrificed and they go down there trying to knock something out. I mean, they're doing a great job, but our kickers, it all starts with our kickers, the long snappers. It all starts with those guys. My man Mata gets a lot of the credit, but I'm telling you, all those guys have done a wonderful job. Our special teams have been stepped up 100%, and that's one of the reasons why we're undefeated right now.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Coach.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Kendrick Marshall.
Yeah, Coach, in your opening statement, you talked about the scene in Jackson this weekend with game day being there.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much sold out crowd with the Southern fans coming down from Baton Rouge. With the attention you guys have gotten this season from the mainstream press and the success you guys have had the last couple of years, especially as you're going undefeated, how do you and your coaching staff keep your kids grounded? Because a lot of teams could see all that and think they're really better than they are. How do you keep them grounded and not falling for the rat poison, if you will?
Well, one thing you got to understand, you guys may not expect the success that we're having, but we do. So when a guy expects get what they expect, it's kind of unthinkable that they could kind of get beside themselves and start thinking too highly of themselves when you already expect that. The guys who think too highly of themselves and get beside themselves and this overtakes them, those are the ones that have never had success. They don't understand what success is. They don't know how to equate success or handle success whatsoever. And we do a good job every morning in the meetings. We give them words and we give them videos. We give them a whole lot of structure on how things look and how it's supposed to be. They will have 3 words a week that we just hone in on and just feed them that every darn day, accompanied by video, accompanied by a speech, accompanied by some thought process that they got to understand this is really what it is this week. And they already have those 3 words for this week and they're going to be prepared.
All right, as a quick follow-up to that, Coach, how much does it help you guys that everything you guys do is filmed either by your staff or the school staff, or just like you guys are always out there in the public eye?
Mm-hmm. Well, our staff is the school staff. Let's get that straight. So when we're filmed, before I got here, everyone from the HBCU family was talking about lack of attention and lack of focus and lack of visuals. Well, we give them that. We give them that. But that's the only difference for the quality of living and exposure. Okay, we're going to try our best to step up the quality of living. We give them 3 wonderful meals a day contained with just football only in our own training tape. We created that atmosphere. A lot of the guys are in apartments, a multitude are in dorm, and we got to up that. You hear me talking about that all the time, and I'm doing a better job with housing. But other than that, we just got to give them the exposure they desire. We this year we're doing another documentary on Prime Video. Thank you, Sam. You're a good man. I don't care what nobody say about you. You're a good man. Aaron in December, he's telling me. Aaron in December. So they're getting the exposure they desire. And that's why the lights don't blind us. The lights don't affect us. One of the greatest moments of last week, to you, it could have been a multitude of things. To me, it was after the multiple thunderstorms. And we went back out there and there's barely anybody in the stands. It was just like practice for us. We don't give a darn about a hand clap, about a you go boy, about nothing playing in the background. We work like that at practice. So that's what it felt like. It felt like, hey man, and I'm not downing Southern by any means. I'm talking about our thought process when nobody's there. That's how we practice. Full speed, a lot of tempo, and we go at it. So I love that moment.
All right, Coach, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll try to get 2 more questions in really quickly. Next one goes to Kyle Mosley.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
How you doing, sir?
Good, good. Congratulations on your win. There's plenty of excitement here in Houston that you guys are coming to town. Each town is ready to welcome Jackson State, but I need to talk about 2 players that have been performing very well for you. That's Wilkerson as well as Aubrey Miller Jr.
Yes.
Talk about how those guys have really been steady for you throughout the season.
Well, let's start on the defense side of the ball. The defense really sets the tone for our entire team. Whenever we have the opportunities, we put our defense out there first when we win the kickoff or whatever that may be. Aubrey is one of the guys that we hang our hats on in the middle of the defense, making calls, getting to the ball, flying around, really setting the tone and the tempo, not just on game day, but at practice as well. He's matured a lot. He's grown a lot. Still, you're going to see some foolish penalties here and there. That's just Aubrey. We could deal with that. We're not going to condone that, but we could deal with that. But the guy plays his heart out. He goes about his job really professionally and hard. So he's going out there doing what we think he should be doing. On the other side of the ball, to have a running back who's consistent, and I truly mean consistent with the way he practices, the way he goes about his job, and he's physical. He could run by you, he could run through you, as well as catch the ball out of the backfield. I'm really pleased with those 2 men. They seem like they have the same tenacity, just one being an offensive player and the other being a defensive player.
Awesome. See you Saturday. Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Last question goes to John Bryce.
Hey, Coach Prime, thanks again, as always, for the time to visit with you. John Bryce here from Football Scoop again. Hey, real quickly, you guys are number 5 again in the top 25 in the FCS coaches poll. 3 of the teams in front of you have a single loss. So how much did you wish, or is it something you're already addressing, that your team could be in the FCS playoffs, that's something that you would like to see?
I don't wish that. I'm happy with the Celebration Bowl. I'm enthusiastic with the Celebration Bowl. The Celebration Bowl, what they do for us financially is far greater than what the FCS College Bowl game would do for you. I don't know if we have the resources to travel consistently for 3 weeks or however long it takes to really be the champions of that. Everyone would love to see us play. I would love to see us compete against one of those schools, but financially, I think we're in a much better place at the Celebration Bowl playing in front of our people as well. I'm truly happy and elated. And I don't really get too much on the rankings and all that. Who's doing the rankings? I don't even know who's doing the rankings. Really, I don't. And I've never addressed our team once by saying, guys, guess what? This week we're number 5. I've never done that. And I don't think I ever will. We have a laser focus. We can't wait to get down to Houston to do what we do. We can't wait to get down to practice tomorrow. The day's an off day for the kids. We're going to go tomorrow and go hard and be ready because we'll go live. There's a lot of Davids out there with some slingshot and some stones.
I appreciate it. And then real quickly, my follow-up would be, we see you as a full-time coach. You said you're at a video shoot right now. You mentor these guys. You speak on faith to these guys. How do you find the time in the day to do all this? What's a typical day like for Coach Prime?
I get up at 3:45. I'm in the car by 4. I'm probably at the complex by 4:35, 4:40. Go in there and get my workout in. I'm probably done by 5:25, 5:30, something like that. Come in, prepare a word for the day if I didn't prepare it for the prior day before. Find videos, find anything that is in my spirit about where we're located spiritually, physically, where our kids are located. I don't come out of the office probably till 7. We have a meeting at 7:15. My meeting starts at probably 7:09, 7:10 consistently. We go out there, we pray it up, we go over film. I give them the word, the thought of the day in front of a plethora of cameras. And I go in there and get my foot done, come back out while the kids are meeting, go back in there, watch a little more film, and get ready for the day's practice. We're probably on the field from 8 something. We have a walkthrough, I think, at 8. We're on the field from probably 8:30 to 10, if that long. And we come back in, then the day really starts. Then that's when the day really starts. Yeah. So I just gave you a glimpse of the early part of the day.
I like that. I appreciate it. I appreciate your graciousness.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you guys. You guys keep on doing what you're doing because that light is shining on us, man. And you guys are doing a phenomenal job. You really are. Every last one of y'all, even the ones that write negative stuff about it, you're doing a good job too because you motivate us.
Appreciate your time, Coach Sanders. Look forward to
God bless
seeing you next week. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew.